I think it should work right now.
Yeah, I can see a notification saying that meeting is now streaming live on YouTube. That's good.
Right, we are on YouTube right now, by the way. Uh, okay, guys. So welcome to our meeting, and I'm happy to be hosting this meeting because we are joined by our guest is very special. Um, so his name is Wayan Karangyana. We can call him Mas Wayan or Pak Wayan, whatever. Um, so basically, he is a PhD student at Washington State University under the Fulbright scholarship, and he can introduce himself about what he's studying later. But uh, another important thing to say about him is that, as I stated in the invitation for this meeting, is that he's got a, a whole lot of experiences in studying abroad, particularly not only when doing his PhD, but also since he was doing his undergrad student, he was awarded a scholarship to actually have an exchange program to Virginia Tech, um, which is I forgot which year, and also he was doing his master's degree at Coventry University, UK. So here we go. Welcome to the show, Mas Wayan.
Thank you everyone for having me. So it's really great opportunity to be here, and then share with all of you. And I just can't wait. Yeah.
Yeah, we are really honored and really grateful to have you here as well. First of all, can you please let us know what actually inspired you to have this kind of achievements and experiences? I think you were among a few special people that have gotten this opportunity.
Well, yeah, I mean, I cannot be more grateful for whatever I have today, So it's really kind of like a rare opportunity that you get this chance to study abroad and then, grow as a person, knowing a lot of cultures and kind of like expand your horizon outside of our country, So yeah, I think all started, when I was in high school. Once my uncle took me to Bali, and then Bali has a lot of tourists, and at that time I met this guy. I mean, this person, like a few people from America, and then we kind of talk a lot. At that time I was still learning English, and that talk is really inspiring. I mean, they were introducing their culture, their, the way American living and all that. So from that moment, I kind of like, oh, you know what? When I grow up in the future, I think I want to go to the US, just to explore what is offered to us, So that's how it started. And then when I entered my undergraduate study, I kind of like, I had this opportunity to uh, apply for a scholarship. It's an exchange. But at the time, I didn't know much about it. So that's why I approached one of my seniors who actually went there. And then, we talk a lot about, oh, how to get this scholarship and all that, So that conversation went on and on. And yeah, and then when the time when I applied it, I got accepted. So it was like it was my first international journey to, to my career and to my academic life now, So that was my first journey of being exposed to international educational system,
Oh, wow. I think it's really interesting for us because as an undergrad student, I think it was kind of probably pretty new for you to have an experience abroad. And I bet you're not that surprised when you were doing your master's or PhD because you've been exposed before. But how did you feel when coming to America at first as an undergrad student?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, undergraduate student kind of different from graduate students. You know, we kind of like, I don't know, we're like 19 years old and 20 years old, so we're that young, you know. So at that time, I didn't really know much about cross-cultural understanding, and I absolutely had a culture shock, you know. So like I found a lot of different things that doesn't make sense to me at first, but when I grew up, you know, when I kind of like realized, okay, the world is, you know, big and a lot of differences, you know. So from that moment, I start, you know, respecting differences, you know. So that kind of like taught me how to be more open, like more international, I guess, you know. So that's a great experience. But for an undergraduate student, I would say that it's kind of challenging as well, you know, because you know, counting that we don't really have much experience abroad, and then now that we have to be there, so we really need to be fast learners, I guess, you know. But you know, luckily that I have a lot of friends that actually have international experience, so that they can teach me, they can share their knowledge to me, you know. So it's really nice to have friends that actually can teach us a lot of things, you know. So I always want to learn from other people because I believe that people have different skills and they always have new things for us, you know. So that's actually
That's
one
awesome.
message there.
By the way, how long were you there?
Yeah, it was one semester. So it was uh the credits actually can be transferred to my what is it, like my academic in my home university, like in Indonesia University.
That's awesome. So I forgot to mention that your home university in Indonesia was actually Bandar Lampung University, right?
That's actually Lampung University. Yeah.
Ah, okay, Lampung University. Sorry, I was mistaken. And your major as an undergrad student was a teaching and education.
Yes. Language education. Yeah.
Okay. And what are you studying right now as a PhD student?
Yeah, right now I'm doing my PhD on language, literacy, and technology. So there are three majors in this study program, you know. So they kind of like combine technology, literacy, and also language. So I'm actually studying these three aspects, you know. So kind of cool. I really enjoy it.
Oh yeah, are you expecting the output? I mean, what kind of like are you into technological stuff that one day you're gonna develop an app or something? Because like
Yeah,
like
I
nowadays like in the
mean,
digital era.
I must admit that, you know, I'm gonna be dealing with millennials. My future students will be, you know, millennials, and then they kind of like they are so much attracted to technology in learning, you know. So I'm trying like, okay, so I really need to adjust what actually make my classroom fun. So by combining technology in my classroom setting, I think it will give more motivation to my students, you know. So I don't say that technology will replace me, you know, kind of like a good combination there when you have technology and then you know how to control your class without losing the, you know, kind of like a traditional way of teaching that has a lot of emotional attachment to the students, you know. So
Cool. So before we move on, talking about if you'd like to compare how it feels to be studying here in America and studying your master's degree in the UK.
yeah, so
The first thing maybe to tell us about what you like about America. I mean, about the environment you are in right now as a PhD student.
yeah. Wow, that's a lot of questions there. So I'm gonna start with, you know, why, I mean, how I like America so far in terms of, you know, learning environment. I really like it, you know, because the atmosphere here is very supporting, especially the professors. They kind of like, you know, really supporting in terms of, you know, appreciating what the students do. You know, they never actually say, "Oh, this is not good. This is not." what I want, you know. So instead of saying that, they more like, you know, give you appreciation at first. What have you done good? And then what you need to be improving, you know. So I really like the way they treat their students, you know. So it's really, I mean, Indonesia is doing a great job too, but I kind of feel it, you know, here in the US, the professors are very comforting and then supporting in so many ways, you know. And of course, the facility and yeah, I mean, it's America, you know, so the facility is so much more accommodating, I guess the word, yeah, especially for journal access for graduate students. It's really kind of, I mean, you're gonna love it here, you know, so because it's like swimming on the ocean of journals. So and
Gotcha.
some of them are free. I mean, most of them are free, you know. So
Yeah, would you
I think
imagine
those two
having those
aspects that I
kind of
really
facilities?
like the most, you know.
Would you imagine having those kind of facilities in Indonesia when you're, let's say, when you go back and teach?
I mean, Indonesia is leading toward that. I mean, we're getting there, you know. So at some point we will be there. So right now we're trying our best, you know, to accommodate every goal of our educational system.
Cool. Okay, so it's interesting to know if you would like to compare a study environment between here in the United States of America and the one in England. Because personally, I haven't been to England actually, so even for me, it's gonna be that really interesting to hear about that.
Okay, I mean, okay, maybe I don't like to use the word compare though. Like I would say because you know what, every place they have their pros and contrasts. So one thing that we have here in America, we may not have it there in the UK and the other way around, you know. So, but I could say definitely good things about the UK and the US, you know, especially in the UK. If I want to say something about academic life, they're pretty much similar, you know, especially the access of journals. They have a lot, they have tons of journals access that are free, you know. And then the professors are really kind of like supporting too. I mean, academically, they are equally good. They're equally compatible. They're equally, you know, supporting. But there are some factors maybe outside of academics that are different, you know, especially the weather are different and then the cultures are different. So yeah, I would say those aspects that are more like, you know, kind of like different, but the academic life kind of similar and they have good facility as well.
Cool. So, what makes you become interested in doing your PhD here in the United States instead of continuing the opportunity or the network that you have had in the UK, considering that as a person who already got a scholarship, let's say, if I'm not mistaken, you went to UK for your master's, you got LPDP scholarship, and um, tell us how you shift into Fulbright scholarship and came to America. Whether or not that's because, particularly because of the chance that the momentum of Fulbright scholarship was there, or any particular interest.
That's a really good question, but yeah, thank you, Jason, for the question. Yeah. So first of all, I just want to say that I'm a person who loves learning. So that's why, you know, until now, that's all because of my um, dream that I always want to learn, you know, until I finish all my degrees, you know. So that's the first thing that I want to say. And also, the second thing is that everything that happens is under his control, I believe, you know. So part of that I end up here in the US is also his, you know, his control. but I do have stories behind that, you know. So once I completed my study back there in the UK, I actually went back home. And then at that time, I actually, you know, wanted to continue my PhD in the UK again, because at that time, LPDP actually had this scam for beasiswa lanjutan, we call it, you know. So when you finish your master's, you can actually propose to LPDP that you wanted to do your PhD, you know, at the university in the UK. And at that time, when I went back home to Indonesia, I applied to 2 universities in the UK because you know, I wanted to continue my PhD right away. And at that time, I got accepted at Queen's Belfast University for my PhD. And then the second one is the University of Sussex. It's like down South London, you know, so.
Yeah.
And then at that time, I contact LPDP and then let them know that okay, I got accepted at these universities, and then I actually wanted to go to Belfast because it's close to Ireland, you know. So I just wanted to experience new things. So I want to get outside of the UK, you know. And unfortunately, LPDP said at that time, "Oh, I'm sorry, the university that, you know, accepted you was not in our list anymore." So that's really sad when I heard that. But hey, anyway, I mean, I just graduated, you know. So and then the rector of my university I'm currently working called me, and then, you know, "Hey, Ryan, why don't you come to the university tomorrow? I want to talk to you, you know." It's like right away when I got the announcement and then I got this call, you know. So it's like, that's amazing, you know. And then I went there and then, "Oh, okay. Yeah, I was wondering if you wanted to join our university to work here as a, you know, as a teaching faculty." And then I right away said yes, because I mean, LPDP just gave me a very, you know, kind of like shocking news, you know. I mean, I accepted anyway, you know, because that's part of my journey, I guess. And then, yeah, and then from that moment, I decided to work at the university while waiting for, I mean, because some of my seniors said that, "Okay, Ryan, you know what, you just finished your master's. I think it's better for you to spend like at least 1 year, you know, to maybe to dig more practical experience rather than just, you know, going straight away for PhD." I thought it made sense, you know, like
And you did, right?
I did, yeah, I did. And then I was like, okay, this is might be one of my, you know, um, part of my journey that I needed to work for a moment, and then just to get more experiences on, you know, how I actually applied what I've learned from my master's into the classroom practice, you know. So and then, you know, when the time came, and then okay, I have been here for a year, so I think it's time to learn new things, you know. I think it's time to do another step of academic life, you know. So that moment I decided to apply for Fulbright. And then, yeah, with all the process, I followed all the process, and then, yeah, here I am. I'm here now. So that's how it went, you know.
Exactly. It's sometimes, I know it is not always like what we've been planning, but apparently in the end, it's just going as it should be. Sometimes
I
the
was
plan is not the best, but what's
I was
been,
gonna say that. I was gonna say that, you know, like sometimes, you know, things happen. Uh it doesn't go as what you planned, you know, because you actually not the one who actually make everything come true, you know. So you just need to believe
uh,
and then do your best. That's what I do. I My parents taught me this, you know. So whatever you do, you can hope, but you know, you never actually expect the result, because you, as long as you do your best, and then you will find a way that this is the best way for you, you know. So that's what my dad taught me when I was a kid, and I always remember that, you know, until
and I think it's everyone would be curious about. You know, you're such a an incredible person with lots of experiences in, you've nailed all the opportunities, and now you're a Fulbright grantee for a doctoral degree, and you're doing pretty well. Would you tell us about what kind of quality that you have that is probably really hard to preserve, but it's kind of, it's kind of challenging, but that's something that makes you able to go through all sorts of the processes?
Yeah, are you asking me about in terms of scholarship?
Yeah, I mean, in
Is
other
it
words,
more?
probably, I'm sorry if the question was a little bit complicated, but I
I
mean,
know.
the principle, the
I think I
principle
get
that
it.
you have in life, that gives you some sort of energy, because personally, as as a person who knows you to some extent, as a friend, um, you never seem to be, to be feeling down, because you've always seen, you always look like you're charming, and like you always smile, and you haven't even expressed anything that is stressful, or I think that is one of the um, most notable things that I see from you. So how do you keep keep yourself up?
Yeah, yeah, Jason, first of all, I just want to say that is very sweet of you to say that, So I do have stressful moments sometimes, especially during my study. But yeah, you know what? That's life, right? The duality of life, sometimes we have happiness, sometimes we have distress and all that. So I do believe one thing, you have a dream in your life. So whatever I do, I always connect that to my dreams, So whenever I feel down, I always remember my dream that I want to be a person who actually have knowledge and then can share it to other people. That's a part of the reason why I'm doing my PhD, because I just want to, help other people and then learn something better, So that's kind of my motto, if I can find the word. So, I mean, we are a human being. We cannot be happy all the time. We need to admit that, But one thing that we have to understand is that as long as you doing your best in your life, and then you have a clarity in your goal, and then you always like do something that connects to your dream, I think you will be, you'll be fine. And then try to see something positive in every aspect, I guess, That's what I do, because I believe that whatever happens, it happens for good, Even if bad things happen, it might teach you something, That's how I think about life. I always try to see the positive thing. I know it's hard though. I mean, it sounds really cliche, you know? Oh, it sounds really cliche, but when you actually believe in that and then you do it, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel something different. That's how I feel about, being positive. I think that's all I can say about that, Jason. I'm not like that good in that, but I'm trying. Yeah, I'm trying my best.
That's really beautiful. And another thing that's probably really apparent about you is that your accent. I admire your accent, is pretty American, right?
I mean, I'm studying here, I deal with a lot of American people. So I think that's how I picked up the accent, So I hear them speaking every day, and then I kind of like do it. I kind of imitate them, So I got exposed to American pronunciation. That's how I get my accent, I guess. And you sound so Australian.
I'm trying to sound like American right now because I'm in America, but I'm not quite sure what makes me, sometimes I tend to be speaking like somehow maybe little towards Australian accent, but sometimes I'm probably in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter, Jason, because whatever accent you have, it's English, So we you know what, actually, that is a big topic. We have Singapore English, Spanish English, and that doesn't matter as long as the goal of the communication is there. So that's what is more important, I guess. So I mean, if you have a good accent, that is good, but when you have accent of your own country, it's still good. So you just need to continue, and then I think you will get better in the future when you practice a lot.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So talking about language, the same thing what you were studying right now, you want to be an educator or lecturer, professor probably in the future on language teaching and education, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think that you can do to help Indonesian, especially young people, to improve their awareness about the importance of acquiring language proficiency, most importantly English, right now as one of the most useful international languages, because we noticed that there are lots of opportunities right now for, let's say, for studying abroad or for working overseas and stuff like that. But one of the most challenging, or one of the biggest challenges that hinder our young people from that opportunity is the language barrier. What do
Yes.
you think, like we or you particularly can do, for Indonesian young
Yeah.
people?
Yeah. Yeah. First of all, Jason, I can't agree more with you that, English is so important, especially in this globalization era, especially that English is the central or the international language being used in academic life, especially in the world of research and education. So, and for me, if you're asking me what is the biggest challenge that is faced by our young generation, is that I think it's the most that I've found is the lack of confidence. A lot of us feel so reluctant, a lot of us feel so, okay, I'm not good at it, so I'm not gonna do it. So that kind of mentality is actually hindering you from learning. That's what I experienced when I taught English back home. A lot of my students, oh, Mr. I don't think I can do that. I'm really shy. I mean, I'm afraid of making mistakes. So I got a lot of answers like that from my students, and then I told them, like, so being afraid of making mistakes is actually making you so much far away from from being able to learn more. So that is one thing that we need to understand, that learning is not goal of being true, like being whole true, but it's actually finding our mistakes to be true. So that's how I define learning. Learning is making as many mistakes as possible, because when you never make a mistakes, you actually, well, never learn. That's how I define, at least from my perspective.
Yeah,
So in
I think
terms
that's
of
really.
language, I think you just need to let it go. I mean, kind of like build your confidence there, and then try to practice speaking, especially if your goal is to be able to communicate and to be able to hold a longer conversation. So, I mean, right now, a lot of digital access, that we can get, that we can learn from, especially the website-based learning and the Android-based learning and all that. It's so easy to access these days. But one thing that really kind of hinder people from learning is that kind of mentality that I said earlier, there are lack of confidence, and then they are afraid of making mistakes, so that's one thing about language as well. And of course, especially in Indonesia, I mean, some people, they don't really have partners to practice their language learning. So that's why nowadays we have a lot of applications that we can use to actually connect to people that actually learn English, like us. So we can learn together with them, So obviously, I really recommend mobile application, to enhance our learning, because especially right now we have TikTok.
Yeah.
TikTok is good too. Every social media is good if you know how to use it in a good way. I mean, Facebook is good, TikTok is good, Instagram is good. I'm using TikTok, by the way, and then I never actually uploaded videos on my TikTok. I use TikTok for learning, So I followed all these good people that actually want to teach us something, especially teaching us about life and about skills that we need to master in our life, So yeah, a lot of media that we can use these days to learn English, You just need to be active and be confident, and then be brave. And then, of course, you really need to change your mind or your perspective. If you want to be able to learn English, you have to be in that environment, like change your environment. Get close to people who actually learn the same thing as you. Get close to the people who actually want to achieve the same goal as you. So that will help, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the point when you say like lots of our people, the kids or young people, they tend to feel shy when they want to express something in the language that they are trying to learn. Let's say English. They tend to think that if they want to speak, other people are gonna laugh at them. And I think that's kind of stuff that we need to address,
Yeah,
and
that's a big issue, Jason, because when we comes to the field, when we comes to the real life, that challenge is real, man. I'm telling you, So a lot of people don't know how to deal with that. Like they kind of like give up. Okay, you know what? This is so much trouble, This is so complicated. This is so hard. This is so difficult. So that's kind of thing that really kind of like challenge them, So we as an educator, we really have to navigate that kind of problematic issue. We really need to bridge that in order for them to gain their confidence, in order for them to kind of like have that motivation. Yeah, for sure, that it's lack of motivation right there.
yeah, because I came up with that kind of topic because it feels like like if if we are not only like myself, for example, we're only one person, but there are so many opportunities right now when we see like young people, who are younger than us, who just got into the university, and we think that, oh God, like there are so many opportunities to be actually better than who I am right now if I just got into the university, and there are still so many stuff that we can achieve. So that kind of way of thinking, uh, it makes me think that like with the opportunities and challenge and technological advances that are available for um, the kids in the millennial era,
Yeah.
at least they don't have to run as far as the previous generation to get into a particular start. They are already there. I think that's a very good point.
Yep. Yeah. So we live in a different era, Zizun, you know, so I mean, right now people have so much facility that are available everywhere, you know. So if we go, I mean, if we go back to the past, you know, especially 10 years ago, I mean, 20 years ago, it was like a struggle, man. Like, you know, if you want to learn something that you have to use the physical dictionary, you know, like today we are having digital dictionary. So yeah, it's a huge difference right there, you know, but yeah, we need to maintain the motivation in order to be the same, you know.
Exactly. Um, all right, we've gone through these conversations for uh, about 30 minutes, and I think we will welcome anyone who has questions. Um, I think I'm gonna have to unmute everyone.
Yeah, I mean, it's open for questions, you know? So if I can answer your questions, I would be happy to do so.
Yeah, you. So the participants, you're welcome. If you want to um, ask any question, if you have some.
I think I will have a question, Kak Jason.
Right? Yes, please.
All right. So now, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Kak Jason and Kak Wayan. Thank you so much for providing us this a wonderful conference or these wonderful discussions. I'm so glad to be here. Well, you know, I maybe would like to ask questions out of this topic, but this is very important questions that need to be answered as soon as possible. You know, we see in the past when the student with good educations, high level educations, they will get more easier to get job or looking for job, looking for money, looking for something else. But nowadays we see that there are so many jobless, even in our country in Indonesia, and the jobless number is not actually coming from the uneducated people or young people, but also coming from the young educated people. You know, I see there are many students when they come back from abroad and they come back to their home country, and they still have no idea what to do, and they just increasing the number of jobless itself. So I don't know what actually is now actually has happening. And in this pandemic era, we see that many people actually got hired by their governments or corporations. And so my big question, should I apply for scholarship or something like that? Even though I know that my life will be, you know, as no working field or something like that. Thank you.
Okay. So the question from Muhammad Safari. Um, I think it's the time is yours, Mas Wayan.
Yeah. Wow, that's a huge question. Thank you so much. But you know, this question is really huge, and then I think it's for everyone. Everyone should be looking for the answer, you know, but I think I can give my perspective here. I just want to say that I'm not that expert in this kind of a topic, you know, like especially about job and all that, but I can say something that as far as I know about, you know, job opportunity, especially in this pandemic era, you know. Yeah, we are entering a very, very different, you know, era these days, especially in this millennials era, you know. A lot of job opportunities are gone, you know, and then a lot of jobless people are coming up. Even though when they have good education, especially people who are studying abroad and then they come back to Indonesia and then they're still struggling, man. Like, you know, it's a very unfortunate um, you know, situation here. But I can say that education can give, I mean, education is important, but sometimes it doesn't give you a good job, you know. So what really, you know, important thing that we have to understand in order for us to get a job, we really need to see what skills do we have in order to gain that job, you know. So skills here are like the most important part of, you know, getting a job, because you gotta do some kind of like a process of recruitment. They're gonna interview you, they're gonna see your CV and all that. A lot of aspects here, Muhammad, if I could say that, you know, I mean, not only education, opportunity is also there, and then your networking is also there. So in this modern era, networking is so important. So even though when you have a good education, I mean, you finish your master's from, let's say, the UK or Germany or Netherlands and some other good countries out there. But if you don't really have a good networking, you know, it's also, it doesn't guarantee that you will get a job, you know. So there are so many combinations there. Your skills, your expertise, and then your networking, it has a big role there, you know. But to answer your questions, I don't think it's going to answer your questions. What happened in the world right now that so many people are jobless, you know? I think that the one that I just said is only a small part of it. But right now, I would say that, especially that everything is going digital, you know, less jobs are available because people are working online, and then some online company, they don't need a lot of workers. So that's also part of it. And yeah, I just want to say that as the person, we just need to grow a skill in order to survive, you know, and then we don't know what happens in the future, you know. As long as you have the skills to survive in life, I don't think you're going to die in poverty. I don't think you're going to die in, you know, some kind of like poverty and all that. Yeah, I think you need to understand what skills do you need in order to survive in this life, especially in this modern era. There's a lot of competition right there, you know, out there. Yeah, competition out there is so, man, if I can say the word, you know, people do everything in order to, you know, to get a job, you know. So that's the word that we live by right now. But as long as you keep in mind that you have a goal in your life, I think life will direct you to that goal, you know. So that's the only thing I can say. Like I don't really have a lot of, I mean, much say on that jobless thing, you know. So I just want to touch that perspective that as long as you have goals in your life and then you stick in that goals, yeah, you don't need to think about those people who are jobless. I mean, if you could think about it, that's good if you want to create jobs for them, you know. But right now, I think you just need to grow as a person, and then who knows what it leads to, you know. It might lead you to a bigger plan. We don't know. At least that's the only thing that I can say, Muhammad Shafari. Yeah. Thank you so much for the question. It's a homework for me that I could, you know, to think tonight before I go to bed, because yeah.
It's a very good answer.
Oh yeah, was there a second?
Yeah, there is another question from somebody who said, I think he or she is not confident to speak directly, so she's writing something. So she's currently learning TOEFL in a program, a government program that's called Rumah Bahasa in Western Nusa Tenggara Province. It's a governor's program. So what he or she is asking is actually whether or not he or she should watch some particular TOEFL videos, or using some particular books. Or I think what the question is about is easy way to improve TOEFL score.
Yeah, who's that from?
Yeah, it's no name.
Yeah, I mean, whoever wrote that, I just want to let you know that your English is good. I mean, yeah, looking at your efforts to do all that practices, taking TOEFL tests and taking TOEFL practice, that is really much appreciated. I just want to start with that. And if you want to ask me tips and tricks about TOEFL, yeah, there is a lot of tips and tricks that you can do to learn TOEFL. But one thing that I want to say first, do your time management first. Make a plan, make a calendar for you. So you have like 7 days on that calendar, and then put like 2 hours in a day of practice. Let's do that first. Let's do that first, because that's what I did. When I was in my undergraduate study, and then before I applied for that students exchange, I took a TOEFL, and then at that time it was my second or third semester. I mean, I didn't know much about TOEFL, But one of my seniors told me, okay, take a piece of paper and make a calendar and write it big that you're gonna practice 2 hours in a day. Do that first. And then I did. And then, he followed up with, okay, so today, in the first day, you're gonna practice on grammar first. And you're gonna, the next day, you're gonna practice on listening. And then do that like every day, at least 2 hours a day. But if you're asking me about media that you can use, if you're talking about paper-based TOEFL, there is a lot of videos on YouTube that you can, go to, especially if you type paper-based TOEFL, like PBT, you will see a lot of videos on that, And then the key to practice is to practice a lot. Yeah, I want to emphasize that, So, but don't forget, you also need to have fun too. Yeah, because if you study a lot and then you forget how to have fun, that's kind of, frustrating sometimes. So that's the first. The key to practice is to practice a lot. And then the second one that you can do is that you have to join the circle of, what I called it, TOEFL circle. A lot of people want to learn TOEFL, and then like these days we have a lot of media, like social media, that they have this group, even WhatsApp group about TOEFL. You just need to find that and then join that group, because they talk about TOEFL every day. And then in your mind, it will be there all the time, And then when you remember that every day, I think it will be easier for you to practice. Yeah, so the second thing that you want to do, you might want to join that circle, the TOEFL circle. And for sure, if you want to achieve something, you have to put more effort in that, So what I mean by efforts, so you have to do a lot of efforts. When you do it, you will find more, you will find more ways to do it, especially for grammar. If you want to learn more grammar, I think you can go to this website called Grammar Bank. Yeah. I used to learn grammar from that website, it's called Grammar Bank. So yeah, I mean, if you can Google it, you will see a lot of grammars on that. So these days, no matter where you go to school, no matter where you go to TOEFL courses, like let's say in Indonesia, we have Kampung Inggris or Rumah Bahasa or whatever it's called, they're all good. They're all good. The same thing as whenever you go to universities, even if it is in the US or in the UK or in Indonesia, they have the same goal. They have the same purposes, What makes it different is you. Only you. Yeah, we see a lot of graduates from big university, that the university that have a good names, but the graduates are not always good. But we have people graduating from a small university, but the quality is so good because they understand what makes you good is you. I mean, the good university is a bonus, is a plus, but you really yourself that actually develop much deeper, you know. So yeah, to sum up, I could say that keep doing it right now, whatever you're doing. It takes time for sure. I just want to say, I want to emphasize that it takes time. I mean, people have different kind of, you know, phase in learning. Some of them are really fast and some of them are really kind of like need more time. That's okay. It's totally fine. So one thing that you have to remember, keep doing it and then it will take you to your goals, you know. You're doing a great job, whoever wrote that questions, you know. So I encourage you to do more and then keep doing it.
Thank you for the answer, Mas Wayan. Yeah, we're still having around 7 minutes before we end the meeting. If others want to ask any question or anything you want to ask, you're always welcome.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing, Jisoo. I mean, I encourage, I know that I just say that, you know, every university is good, is you know, similar. They have the same purpose, but I encourage all of my friends back home in Indonesia to apply for a scholarship to study abroad, to study, to, you know, out of our comfort zone, you know. So not only you will gain a lot of different experience, but you will see the world from different perspective, you know. You will see the world from different kind of angles. So that's how I want to put it, you know. So, and scholarship in Indonesia are abundant right now. I mean, it's everywhere, you know. One thing that you need to do is just Google it, you know. And I just want to say this, you know, whenever I talk about scholarship, I always say this. Scholarship is like mango tree. Everyone can see it. Everyone is passing it, you know. It's there. I mean, it's on the ground, you know, it's growing. It's big. Everyone can see it. But only a few can actually taste how sweet the mango tree. Those people who actually can get it, you know. And to get it, you need to do something. I don't know, whatever you want to do. Maybe, you know, borrowing ladders from your neighbor, or maybe climb it, or maybe jumping, you know, to get up to the tree. So many steps that you can do. But the thing is, only those people, only those few people who can get up there and then take the fruits and then eat it and then taste the sweetness of the mango tree. You know? So I just want to put it right there so that everyone can start, finding their ways, finding more efforts how to get that scholarship. Yeah. I grew up, I never knew that I'm gonna be here until now today, because I feel like I'm not like the top 10 students in my class, you know, so how could I possibly dream like that? You know what? Have a dream today, and then your dream is valid. I know it sounds cliche again, you know, really cliche. And then everyone says that, but whatever dream it is, it's valid. And then whatever goal you have, those goals are valid, you know, and then they will happen. You just need to believe in that and then do some efforts. Yeah, they will take you to that dreams.
All right, there
I
is
believe
another
in that.
question coming up, Sayan. Are there any differences in essays between LPDP and Fulbright, and tips for facing interviews? Last year, I joined the LPDP but failed in the last test interview. I think I've studied hard on the internet about interviewing, but it doesn't work. Could you please give me some tips?
That's a good question, especially like, are there any, no, no, no. Oh, there are so many questions right there. Okay. And tips for facing interviews. Okay. Yeah. So if you are applying for graduate students, like graduate studies, like PhD, like masters and all that, I just want to say, so please have a clarity of what your goals, of what you want to achieve in your study. So on that essay, please make it so crystal clear. Okay, this is what I want to achieve, and I want to do this in the future. And make it, centralize your purpose, not for yourself, but for the sake of the society, for the sake of other people too. That's how I actually, take my essay, like I direct my essay on that direction. I make a crystal clear goals, and then I direct that goals not only for my benefit, but for other people benefit too. Because the scholarship, they want to know what you want to do after, you finish your study. And then are you kind of like a selfish person that you want to be a businessman? I want to have a lot of money and like that. So drive that essay to convince the the readers that you want to do something that is useful for the society, and then also bring benefit to the sake of many people. That's the first question. And then, you know what, every interview is the same, is to make sure that what you write on that application is true. Sometimes they do, give you a makeup, like a follow-up questions, but in interview, you just need to be honest. That's like the key important aspect, So later, when you apply that scholarship again and you are called for the interview, the best thing to do on that interview is to be honest, like 100% honest, Because if you say something that is not on your essay, that is not on your application, then you might be, having a problem there, Yeah, the clarity is so important. Let me see the question again.
Yeah, it's about the tips, because like yeah, she was failing one of the LPDP's interviews before.
Yeah, I just want to touch on that first question. Is there any difference in essays between LPDP and Fulbright? I would say, according to my personal experience, I didn't see any huge difference, because those scholarships, they have the same, and they have similar goal. They want to see, are we a good candidate for that scholarship? One thing that you have to remember, every scholarship has, they have their mission, they have their mission and vision. You have to read that first. And then after you read that vision and mission, you have to be in line with that. You have to understand that mission, and then, okay, I want to help you to, to achieve that mission. Because one of the mission of Fulbright is to, increase the understanding between these two countries, in terms of culture, politics, and all that. So you might want to say that, joining this program will be able to, and will enable to, help me to be an ambassador for Indonesia to the US, in order to increase the, cultural understanding, So that's a good way of writing your essay if you want to apply for Fulbright too. Yeah, definitely you want to go through that mission and vision of LPDP before you write your essay. I would suggest you to do so.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, for everyone for joining us tonight. I think I'd like you to have some closing statement, Mas Wayan, before we close up this meeting. Yeah, this meeting.
Yeah, sure. I mean, first of all, I just want to thank you, everyone, for coming here. I'm just so happy that I'm able to share my experience here in this platform. I mean, and I just want to thank you, Jason, for providing this platform in order for me to be able to share my experience here. And I just want to say one last word. You know, this is from, I think it's from Martin Luther King. I think everyone knows him, And once he said that life will be more joyful or beautiful if you do it with your heart for the sake of other people, So I really like that. And I just want to share that to everyone here. Because when you live yourself for not only for you, but also for bringing benefit to other people, you just, feel a lot of joys. And then, of course, being kind to everyone and being caring to everyone. Be caring to everyone. That's also an important quality that you need to have in order to, achieve that kind of, I don't know, like satisfaction. Yeah, that's the word. So I just want to say that. And then I just want to say also, keep doing what you're doing right now. You're doing a good job. And who knows what it might lead in the future, So that's all, I guess that's all I want to say. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I personally I couldn't be more grateful to have you here and everyone tonight. And I think it just came up to my mind that Mas Wayan and I actually I had an opportunity of joining a language preparation program in Jakarta. So, and we had a chance to watch a movie that time that um, we took some wisdom from, and that is, if I'm not mistaken, that Cinderella movie, right?
Yes.
And the thing that we highlighted from that movie was, so one of the keys to achieve success um, is be kind and have courage, right? So I really noticed that one, and I like to repeat that. So I think what you have said that time is always in line with, like I think uh, in what you have said in this meeting I think there is so much wisdom in that it's really impressive. Thank you so much, Mas Wayan. And yeah, hopefully everyone can get most out of this meeting here tonight in America and today in Indonesia, inshallah. So I think that, and I hope in the future some of the participants who are here right now might be the next people who are gonna be speaking like you, Mas Wayan, sharing about the experiences and be helpful and beneficial to others. Well, thank you so much once again.
Oh, yeah.
And
One last thing, Jason, I just want to say that, if everyone has a question or questions about scholarship, don't hesitate to reach to me, on any platform, maybe Facebook or WhatsApp and all that, So I'm really open to that. I am actually happy when you reach out because a lot of people, they don't reach out. We don't know what problem they have, So yeah, I mean, I am very welcoming everyone to, contact me if you have any questions related to applying scholarship or asking for tips on tricks on, interview or something like that. And also, I want to emphasize, I'm not an expert though. Like, I know a little bit, that's why I want to share that a little bit knowledge that I have, so that might be helpful. Yeah.
Sure. I think it probably better to write your social media account in the comment if.
Oh yeah, I will do it right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think another thing to to notice from what Maswaya has discussed is that no matter how smooth it does look when it comes to when we see other people who have achieved some certain point, it looks smooth if we just see anything that's being posted on our social media, but it's actually in the in the the actual thing that happens is that like there's gonna be always challenging stuff along the way. But as Maswayan said, that those who gonna arrive in the destination are those who we just I just keep moving forward. So once again, thank you so much. I think it's the time for us to end this meeting, and for sure, if we're gonna hold some other meeting where we can share some stuff, some little thing that we know to others. I will let everyone know.
Yeah, Jason, if I may suggest you, maybe you have to make a very specific topic about how to, apply for a scholarship. I think it will be more specific. There will be more questions on that.
Yeah. This one was like, this is actually some kind of preliminary or, something that, we just kind of trying to start this platform and try to see where it brings us to.
Yeah, that's good too. That's good too. I mean, this is introduction. I really hope that this platform is growing well, because I know that you're a very creative person, so.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. You have inspired me a lot as well. So which is why.
Well, let's say we inspire each other. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Okay, you have a great rest of your evening.
You too. Yeah, everyone, thank you so much. It's a pleasure for me to meet you here, and then I will see you sometimes in the future.
See you, Masoyan, and see you, everyone.
See you.